In this video, we're going to work with the CAM capabilities inside Fusion 360 to be able to run our G code to be able to machine our cylinder flange out. So when we're done drawing this up, we're able to come up here where we want to change our workspace. So we click on our design, come down to manufacture, and you'll notice that we have a whole set of tools. So what I want to do is I want to create a new setup. Click on the setup right there, or that one, and we'll click new setup. And you're going to see a small box surround your part. This is actually the material that we're going to be machining our part out of. Now, when we machine this in the lab, we're going to be cutting 1-inch chunks of our 1 inch by 2 inch rectangular tubing on the bandsaw. So our part, our aluminum that we're going to be cutting this out of is going to be 2 inches wide by 1 inch tall by 1 inch thick. So before we do that, I want my coordinate system to be a little bit different. I want my Z going up and down. So what we can do is we can change our orientation and select our Z-axis plane. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a vertical line. See that our Z is going up. The last thing is my X and my Y are in the wrong position. I want my X going to the right here and my Y going up on top. What I'm going to do for that is I'm going to flip my X axis. So now we are set for that. The last thing is I want to make sure that my when we zero out our tool using our dial indicator, we want to be able to zero off of the part. So I'm going to use a stock box point, and I'm going to select a box point, and it's going to the upper left-hand corner. So what's going to happen is we're going to clamp this in the vise, put our hammer in our mill. We're going to touch off on the left-hand side here in X, on the top, or in the back here in Y, and on the top in Z. The next thing I want to do is I want to select size of stock that I'm going to. We're going to do a fixed size box because all of our parts are going to be in X, they're going to be 2 inches. In Y, it's going to be 1 inch, and in Z, it's also going to be. So it's going to be a lot of material that we're going to be using, but that's what we're going to be cutting off of the bandsaw. So then the next thing that we will do is we need to set our Z a little bit because our second operation, we don't want to be cutting off this much material. Our first facing operation, we just want to cut as much of it off as possible. So I'm going to change underneath where it says height Z. I want to change my model position, offset from the top, and we are going to offset it at 1/2 inch, like that. So when you have your part centered in there, your material setup is 2 inches by 1 inch by 1 inch, and we have your part origin in the top left corner. You're done with your setup. The next thing we want to do is we want to bring in our tools that we have set up in our mill. So up on the top tool ribbon, we've got our tool library. Click on that. I already have our RFHS tool library imported, but I'll quick show you how to bring in all these tools that you don't have to build from scratch. So if we go on the website, we have a button with our RFHS tool library. If you click on that, you'll be able to download our RFHS tool library. Then after you do that, we come on up to our tools where it says local, and if I right click, what I can do is I can click on import library. Then all that we do is we click on that RFHS tool library, press open. You'll bring in that tool library and you'll have access to all of our that we have access in the in the next video. What we'll be doing is we'll be using those tools to be able to start milling our part.